kind of bullshit is this?
Ha! It's AI generated. I didn't have much time, so I was improvising. Isn't it awesome?
Hey, this is a serious event. Look at this crowd. It's an opening event of Dewesoft MC2024.
Of course, I know. It's the best event since the last measurement conference, and that's why I made it so impressive.
Right. And now we're back live.
Hey, Jure, join us on the stage.
Oh.
Everybody, welcome. Before we really start, let me introduce you to those two guys. These are the Dewesoft. They were born in the year 2020, where we were in the lockdown. So we have nothing else to do than to create a virtual measurement conference. We really had a lot of fun. We invited our best artists, which joined because they basically had nothing else to do. We climbed our highest mountain, Triglav. The Dewesoft even blew up a car. And then we made a video for the new Dewesoft XHS on our highest chimney in Europe. By coincidence, it is here in Trbovlje. So everybody, welcome to the real, live Dewesoft Measurement Conference 2024.
Yeah, Jure, that was so much fun. What are we blowing up today?
Ha! As far as I know, a couple of rockets.
Yeah!
But before we are going to blow up a couple of rockets, let's take the journey around the world. We will start with aerospace. So, in order to speak a little bit about our cooperation with the European Space Agency, I invite on the stage Monsieur le Président Loic Siret of Dewesoft France.
Welcome on board. So I'm very proud to be here to present you some overview about what we do with Dewesoft and aerospace. So first of all, I want to introduce you what is the Spatial Application and Spatial Agency European for France market. So just to inform you, what is the ESA, so European Space Agency? It's around 600 companies covered by 13 countries who works for a space application in Europe. So in Europe, so automatically is here, in French Guiana, in South America. So, welcome in Europe. But by the way, the idea to be in French Guiana is because in French, but this is the area where it's the most interesting to launch some satellite because we are near from Equator. So French Guiana Space Center cover different launch pad. We spoke about Vega, Italian one. We spoke Ariane 5, in the future Ariane 6. By the past it was Soyuz too, but in very near future it will be all the new space coming from Europe. So what's happened and which application we can do in French Guiana with our device? It's, for example, to monitoring some vibration on the building for Vega. You have some example about what we can do now. So, like you see in these big pictures, a very small point, this is the area where are located some units to see all the vibration during the launcher. But we are here more or less to speak more for Ariane 6, the future. So, the Ariane 6 normally will be launched very soon. We'll see probably this during this summer, probably, all the people who work for this. But to be ready at the good time, a lot of tests are done, and lot of tests, we are lucky that a lot of tests are done with Dewesoft instrument. For example, for the booster test rocket, we have a big bunch with more than 1,000 channels to cover all the need for vibration, temperature, acceleration, and so on. And we can see it's restricted area where no pictures is allowed. But some of them, yes, it seems. And this type of bench is to simulate all the effort and all the vibration we can have during one launch, and they do all the measurement during this fire test to evaluate if the satellite can survive during the launch. So this is one example of one fire of this rocket. So this is one example done with some units somewhere in the cabinet. Bon, we have some other application, and like you know, in French Guiana we have several severe conditioning of weather, humidity, very hot, and our device survives. But it seems us too. And we see that we do a very well packaging of our device to French Guiana.
Yes, and these boxes, you can see, are very useful also if you make a joint trip. So in this trip, without the electricity, without the cell phones, I ate the best fish in my life. Or at least I thought until I saw how it really looked before. But really, I would like to thank Fabian and Fabrice and Simon and Jure for organizing this trip. And they are here today. Yeah. Please stand up. Fabrice. So if you want to know anything about the European Space Program, they are here for you in these days.
Yes. So, by the way, we do more than eat fish. We do some tests too. So this is one overview about the different area where we do some evaluation and some tests. With the mobile can try this building move on the wheel, but it's around 100 meters and 10,000 tons to move before launch the rocket of Ariane 6. So this is some example about all the different measurements. So 100 meters, like you can see, my foot are very small. It's very high, but they check all the meteo sensor, the wind, the vibration during the movement for the launch. So a lot of units are everywhere in the French Guiana area. We have some bench with more than 15 units not located at the same area, and all together are synced perfectly to have all the information before the launch. So let's see in very near future. It seems Jure validate that all works well. And we'll see when Ariane 6 will be launched, but since now Jure don't find the good cable to have got the good information for the launch. So wait and see. Thank you.
Let's continue our journey in aerospace industry. So if ESA in the last years are a really good customer, NASA is, I would say, even more traditional. We start to work with them in 2003. And I would like to ask to join me on the stage, Rosenthal, Regional Manager of Dewesoft USA. So Jake, the question, what's NASA up to these days?
That's a good question, Yuri. They are up to the Artemis program. Artemis program is encompassing everything that is moving forward for NASA, not just one vehicle, but actually several vehicles within. So Artemis is really what its main mission is first, return humankind to the moon, to be able to do the first long-term presence, live, work on the moon, so then they can learn from those findings and the ingenuity that needs to go into that to then be able to learn how to live on Mars. I'm not going to send somebody for a 3-month suicide mission. So what is Artemis? It's actually several pieces that are being worked across many NASA facilities. First is the Orion spacecraft. We got to get the astronauts up and get them safely to the moon. Well, we got to get them off the ground too. So the SLS rocket is the booster that Artemis will be on top of that'll be able to get it up into high Earth orbit and put it on a nice trajectory towards the moon and eventually to Mars. They're also working on the first lunar orbiting space station called Gateway. And Gateway is meant to give ability to have access to the moon, send astronauts down to landing, come up, and then come home as well. So what's going on? Artemis 1 actually happened in 2022, that they were actually the first successful test of the SLS rocket, and they sent the Orion capsule out around the moon, farther than any manned spacecraft has ever been, and came back safely and landed. Artemis 2 is set up right now for probably September of 2025. That'll be the first manned mission that'll go launch astronauts on top of SLS for the first time, send them to the moon and around the moon, not going down just yet. That's for a year later on Artemis 3 with other space partners like SpaceX and Blue Origin. They will actually land on the lunar surface, returning humanity to the lunar surface. And then Artemis 4 is going to be with Gateway. Gateway will be in orbit, and that's at about 2028. That's the forecast for what NASA's doing, but Dewesoft and Artemis are strong together. We actually got to go back a little bit before Artemis because of the Orion capsule's been in NASA's plans for a while. We actually did the first flight test with Orion back in 2014 that we processed close to 9,000 parameters coming off of that capsule through different data streams. In the process of getting ready for Artemis, the SLS rockets, it's only a 12,000-pound rocket. So they got to move it. Well, how do we move it? The crawler. The crawler is actually built for Apollo, and NASA is still using it today. We are actually monitoring on their hydraulic pressures, structural stability on that. As they built and are building new systems, there's lots of subcomponents testing across that needs to be done. Launching a vehicle isn't the simplest. You have to do umbilical cord testing. We got to do ground systems testing. Flight batteries, they want to live in space. They don't do well on the ground. The other part is they got to get the capsule out of the water. So we've done a lot of work with doing different movements because we need to be able to see how does this, it actually needs to be a boat at the same time. How does it move? How does it float? So instead of using a helicopter, they're actually going to use a Navy ship to be able to float the capsule into the ship to then be able to drain the back end of the ship out. That's meant for amphibious assault vehicles. Well, they're going to use a capsule. And the problem is there's this big back door that comes up in the capsule when they move it, and it makes all kinds of waves. And they thought, guys with ropes, those Navy guys are a little too strong and would rip it apart. So the other big one is the mobile launch tower. On this tower, there's actually close to 1,200 measurements that Dewesoft is doing on all different levels, all up and down the tower. Dewesoft has to survive launch as well, which we did do successfully with Artemis 1. As you're building the rocket, we're actually heavily involved with stacking. The most complicated part is how do we stack these beer cans together and not crush them. So we did a lot of precision torque measurements, and you'll see batteries again, they're very flammable. Artemis 1 actually launched in 2022. We were doing lots of telemetry data monitoring along with the tower. The tower, with all the structures and subsystems, was over 1,600 channels. The real impressive one was 400,000 Ethernet parameters was monitored by Dewesoft because that launch control software can control the vehicle and put a nice digital meter up, but you ask them to do a strip chart, it loses its mind. So only a few parameters. The Artemis 1 mission, though, was the big pinnacle because it was the first full test of all the subsystems and actually launching of the flight vehicle. which was successfully done, and now we're excited to wait and see what happens with Artemis 2. A lot of testing to be done heavily with Dewesoft. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jake. So if you think about a place which is really hard to access, the space is one. But another one is the deep sea. So I ask on stage Jean-Francois to tell what one subsea is doing.
Hello, Jure. Hello, everybody.
Hello. But first of all, to get the terminology and definition straight, what is deep for you? How deep is really deep? For us, living near the Adriatic Sea, 90 meters is already, that's it.
In no way that's a swimming pool.
What about 350 meters?
If you have a pet whale, yeah, maybe you can bath it in it, that's okay, but still shallow.
I give you more. What about 1,000?
I think you can do better, Jure.
Let's do better. 2,000. 3,000?
Getting there.
3,500.
Yeah, that's about what we have delivered so far, and we designed up to 4,500 meter. But there's other numbers with our product. In oil and gas, you can have very high pressure coming out from the well, up to 20,000 psi. That's 1,300 bar. So sorry, space guys, you're not winning on pressure. You're winning on number of channels, big time. So number of channels, we have about 200. There's a lot. You will see a bit of products. You will understand why we have quite a few channels. But before that, which is the most interesting, but quickly a little bit who we are, because I don't think anybody knows what subsea, what one subsea is. But maybe some of you know SLB. We used to be Schlumberger. It's a 100,000 employee company, so maybe some of you came across it. 100 countries, 200 nationalities. SLB works in oil and gas and now is transforming itself into an energy supplier. OneSubsea, we are the subsea division of Schlumberger, and we are about 10,000 employees, 4 business lines. But that was the boring part. The more interesting part, we own engineers, is more about very quickly how you get oil and gas out of the sea. You need more or less four main branches. That's why we have 4 divisions. You can see at the bottom of the sea, you have some equipment. That's where you will have the valves, everything you need to extract the oil and gas from subsea. But you need to carry all of that to shore with piping. You need to bring power. You need to bring data. And that's umbilical and cables. That's a full division. Those cables, they can be dynamic cables. You see a boat. You imagine the boat is moving. So these are quite high-end products. The cable is very complicated to make. And the products we make, and where we use Dewesoft a lot those days, but I really hope we'll use it for more equipment, is processing. So processing is everything that helps you to produce, in particular pumps, compressors, and I come back to those products. And of course, we deliver services with this. We have actually a lot in common with a bit also with aerospace, actually, in terms of electronic, in terms of reliability. These are equipment you don't want to go and service. They're there to stay. So you need very high reliability. We're located in Bergen, Norway, so I know I don't have a Norwegian accent, but I actually do live in Norway. This is our factory, so it's a little bit like a Dr. No factory with a big boat that can come and take the equipment. So we have a huge swimming pool. So again, if you have a pet whale, actually you can put it in there. Because it might sound strange despite all the high-tech that we have today, but at the end of the day, before we deliver, if you want to check if it's leaking, you do the same as with your tire. You put it underwater and you see if bubbles come out. And there's more advanced stuff, but actually, you need to do it. So we make 3 lines of products. we make gamma densitometer to do spectrometry subsea. We also make ultrasonic flow meters. That's in our instrumentation division. We make swivel and turret systems. You see the boat there. You imagine the cables. They come up. The boat, you can keep it stable with rudders, but you cannot prevent the boat from rotating. And if it starts rotating, you're going to twist your cables. Not good. So you need a huge spherical joint that's going to gather power, data, send also hydraulic power subsea, several megawatt of electrical power, get back the oil and gas, fiber optic. But the product really that interests us, where we work a lot with Dewesoft, are the pumps and compressors, especially the compressors, and more with the pumps. So those are interesting machines because you have a lot of different type of measurements to do on them. You have to do, obviously, electrical measurement. Those are 4 megawatt motors, so they're not small motors. You need to deal with high power. And you cannot find a subsea drive or subsea transformer that is reliable enough to be subsea. So you might have your variable frequency drive onshore. It's actually onshore, and 120 kilometers up to your motor. That's a very unusual way of driving your motors. So we need to control what happens with power. We have vibration, of course. When you put 8 megawatt in a machine, rotating machine, you get vibrations. We measure strain on the blades, but we also do orbital, and we do also torsional. And of course, all of that is attached to a process, so we also do pressure measurement, temperature, flow density. So it's quite complete. It's very multi-physics, and one of the biggest challenges we have today, they're not single physics, they're multi-physics, because nature doesn't have department, so it doesn't care if the electrician doesn't talk to the guy who's doing the rotary dynamic. That's typically the kind of problem we meet, and I actually have a technical session for those interested in torsional vibration on Thursday on what we've done with Dewesoft to resolve our torsional vibration problem and get electricians to talk to mechanicians. So to conclude, what we're using, what has been our journey with Dewesoft, we started just 3 years ago, but it goes quick. We started with Sirius when we bought some Krypton, and then we went to Iolite, and we just bought some Obsidians, and we bought some Sirius XHS. So one of the things we really love with those products, of course, as you all know, is that they work still very well together. They all have their strengths. But we are also in a journey with Dewesoft on software. So we did a lot of work on torsional. Again, there's been a lot of rewrite also done on torsional vibration module to make us happy and I think other clients. But that has been a very big collaboration. We are in the process of validating orbital compared to our legacy solutions. We are trying to use a lot more DewesoftNet to get that multi-physics and different departments to work together around the data. And we have a project ongoing, which is almost completed now for condition monitoring using MQTT protocol, so we can monitor what is happening subsea using Dewesoft X, getting all our digital data into an app, into Dewesoft X. Sorry, I hope I wasn't too long, and that was interesting. Next one.
Ooh, these rockets and deep sea make me so dizzy. It's like walking on a shaky bridge.
Oh, dummy. Don't worry, we have an expert of bridge monitoring coming up to the stage.
Oh, it's Dino. I love Dino, he's awesome. Dino, can you secure this stage?
Thank you. So our monitoring solutions are today installed on all kinds of structures, from wind turbines, skyscrapers, even mining applications, but most of them are actually on bridges. There are more than 10,000 bridges in Europe. Just think about this number for a moment. It's quite a lot of bridges. Well, actually, there are this many that are structurally deficient. And that's only in Europe. There are many more around the world. There are so many that it's not possible to inspect them all, let alone repair them all at once. So we are lucky enough to be part of the mission to help identify which bridges are the most critical. We do that by providing sensors and data acquisition systems, monitoring software, and so on, to measure vibration, strain, and other parameters that our clients use to do analysis like modal, to find natural frequencies on the bridge, to find mode shapes, and then over time monitor this to try to identify which bridges are the most critical and which need priority repairs. Only last year, there have been more than 2,000 of our sensors installed on bridges from Norway to India, Sweden, Spain, and most of them have actually been installed in our neighboring country, Italy. And I'm sure you're going to hear some nice stories from there. Thank you.
In Italy, there are much more interesting things to monitor than the bridges. Gabriele, my friend, please join me on the stage and tell us everything about the ancient history.
Thanks, Jure. Hello, everyone. I'm here to tell you a sad story. This story started in the Middle Ages time, where the men in Italy used to compete who had the longest tower. You know, the longer the tower, the highest was the power. And here below, behind me, you can see the city of San Gimignano, famous in Tuscany, for its original 72 towers. Only 14 left today. Gone. Italian engineers are very bad. You know, Italy is quite famous for bad towers. Yeah. I had by case, I was studying at the university in Pisa during the last renovation, and every single day, I was riding my bike from engineering, you see there, to the Nice Arts building, going behind the tower every single day. And you may think I was already interested in monitoring, but actually I was not. The reason was that the Nice Arts building, there's the best coffee and the best girls. And you know, the story ends that I got married. Hello, my love, she might be watching me. You know, even though I was a computer engineer, to please her, to impress her, I did my best with these buildings. And I started with the monitoring of Colosseum during a very famous concert, the Pantheon, and several other very nice buildings we have in Italy. But lately, something impressed me very much. Garisenda Tower in Bologna, critical condition. Italian tower, again. So are Italian engineers so bad? And then I started to Google for it. And I realized that actually we are. God. And you know, but one particular tower grabbed my attention. The tower in London, the Big Ben, with its only 0.26 degree is nothing if compared to the 4 degree of the Garisenda Tower. It was impressing me so much. I had to deeply understand. What are they doing? What was the restoration they did? What was the monitoring system they used? And I found out that they did something completely different. It was so good that was even patented in 1994. And then I decided to apply by myself in Italy. And my wife really appreciated. Enjoy.
Ha! Guys, that was really impressive. I already feel better. Come on, crowd, one more applause for Gabriele and Dino. Hey, did you see those two bikes on the stage?
Ooh, I really imagine driving it over the bridge. Do you know one of them is purely electric?
I know. Hey, I have a joke. Do you know what a person with diarrhea and an electric car owner have in common?
What?
They both hope they will make it home.
Whew, I know another one. Did you hear about the new electric car from Germany?
How is it called?
A Volkswagen.
Yes, from the aerospace to monitoring, we come to the automotive applications. First of all, it's really a question, where is the future? You know, here for us in the countryside, a good oil combustion engine is still the choice. Maybe the future is in hybrid. Maybe it's in electrical. If we can put in the size of my fist 1 megawatt hour, then the electric will rule the world. If not, maybe the future is somewhere else, maybe hydrogen. We don't know. But the fact is that at Dewesoft, we are supporting everything. So we still upgrade a lot our combustion analyzer, getting it ready for the new technology like hydrogen. Then we invest a lot of power into building solution for measuring electric engines. And because Dewesoft is one single software suite, everything synchronized, we can definitely measure very well hybrid. But there is a company who made this major change. So I ask to join me on the stage Tony DePaolantonio, former instrumentation manager of Tesla.
Thank you, Gary. It's my privilege to kick off this automotive application talk, and I want to say that I really appreciate Yuri for asking me to do this because I have been an extreme Dewesoft fan since we had our first system when I was working back for Army Test Evaluation Command way back in 2013, before some of the people here were probably born, or close to. So thinking of Tesla, Tesla is not just an automotive company, they're a technology company. When people think of Tesla, they think of the car. They think of the car that's the quickest production car in the world. Sorry for the Italians out there. But when you think about a car, you need to also think about everything that goes into making that vehicle. At Tesla, it is worldwide testing, and they're using Dewesoft for every step of the process, from prototype development, component level testing. A lot of people say that, can't you do a lot of that stuff with simulation? And yes, you can test with simulation, but you cannot test with simulation if you don't have the data to go with first. You need to feed that machine. You need to feed it the data. And Dewesoft has allowed Tesla to go from making 1 million cars in the first 10 years to making 1 million cars a year now, because how quick and easy it is to implement these things with Dewesoft. You can talk about strain measurement, material level testing, CTE calculations, the principal stress and analysis. There's so much that is there in the system, it's a catch-all. As you can see here, we utilize Dewesoft in conjunction with other systems. Most systems are extremely expensive to expand, but with Dewesoft, you can get it at a much lower channel cost and much more flexibility. Going to that next level of component level testing, direct load measurement, and even subsystem testing, all the way through powertrain. Vehicle validation is also another key. Tying to the key with Dewesoft that allowed me to bring Dewesoft into Tesla was the video integration. A lot of times you'll see the test data and you'll see what is that blip, what's that spike, what's that peak, did it really happen? Seeing it in real time as you're collecting that data and being able to show that to the engineers, you no longer have the argument that it looked good in CAE, because you can prove in the physical world that it didn't work. And everybody's seen this beast out there. This is one of the newest products from Tesla, and every single stage of the process, Dewesoft is involved, was involved, and is continuing to be involved. In my speech that I'm going to be giving on Wednesday, I'll go completely through the OEM validation period. We don't have the time to do that tonight, but like I said, Tesla isn't just an automotive company. They're a technology company. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. A really great story. So from United States of America, let's go back to Europe. And I invite Martin Frolec, Gesellschaftsführer of Dewesoft Deutschland, to tell us the story about Mercedes-Benz Daimler.
Guten Abend, good evening. Thank you very much. Well, 6 years ago, I was sitting here in row 3 for the first time in Trbovlje and for the first time with Dewesoft, and I was smashed. And since then, we're walking together all along. I want to thank you, the whole team from Dewesoft, for the last 6 great years. Thank you very much. As a little gift from Stuttgart, I brought you a story which we accomplished together, the team here at headquarters, but also in Germany. So a big thank you also to my team in Germany. And we have to jump back a couple of years back in 1990 to tell the story incomplete. It's a story from Mercedes. And in 1990, the first electric car was already presented. It was a fleet of 10 cars running through the world, but it was never sold. It was a bit too early, but it was a successful campaign. So this was the first baby Benz in electric version. 25 years later, a big announcement was made, and it was the announcement that Mercedes will produce a new series. It's called EQ. And from this moment, the Dewesoft story in Germany for electric cars starts. So it was in Sindelfingen where the first car was introduced, and I want to walk with you through the research center all together, where we spent also many, many hours during our work life with Dewesoft at Mercedes campus. So we will run through the campus, and it was a time where all engineers had to focus on a new propulsion system. Coming from an 8-cylinder, 6-cylinder technology, everything was new to them. And they had a bunch of problems to resolve. And most times it was a problem of the electric power testing. And it was a mess in concerns of the sensoring. There was no unified system, there was no synchronity, different sources, and basically the engineers were struggling behind the scene in order to get this EQ, the first EQC, running on stage. And here, Dewesoft has been invited. It was an invitation to present all our capacity and even go one step further for a second generation of e-mobility testing solution. And from there, we were invited to join the different labs. Here's a little screenshot in some of those labs. And the requirements were long. We wanted to have one software, one solution, a complete solution for test benches, in-vehicle testing, secured, a new sensor, wider bandwidth. And Jure said at the very end of many, many of those meetings, there must be a better way. There must be a better way to accomplish this. Why don't we put everything in one solution? And here we go with a little Lego game. We put all the resources from Dewesoft together, And we created a new series of data acquisition systems, which today are available. And we were playing around, and there were many, many stages where we introduced the new solutions for Mercedes-Benz. At the very end, we had it done, and a brand new product was introduced. And this happened in 22, where Mercedes was handed over the first XHS Power. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. But this is just the beginning of the story. The story continues. So after developing the XHS Power, it was really natural to continue and to make a new sensor. So the DCCT sensor is a standalone current measurement device based on patented technology with a very small form factor and with a 1000 amp measurement range, very good accuracy, plug and play, so it is extremely easy to use. We have introduced this sensor at the end of the year, and today we have a little bit bigger brother with a bigger hole diameter, still with 1000 amp measurement range. But that's not it. The real story is that Dewesoft is not only producing the measurement software, it's not only producing the measurement instruments, but now the new era begins, the era of digital smart sensors. But before going into further product introduction, let me tell you a little bit about where we are, a little bit about our past. So, for those of you who are first time here, welcome to Trbovlje. Trbovlje has 18,000 people, so it's fairly small. In the whole Zasavje region, we have 60,000 people. But we used to have a very, very strong industrial history from the mining technology. The first washing machine in former Yugoslavia was built here, and then the semiconductor industry was also here. With the transition to the market economy, a lot of those companies failed, and they closed down. But there were few of us who really believed that we could do something better, something more, and therefore we created Dewesoft. Dewesoft was created by four founders: Franz Degen, Herbert Werning, myself, and Andrej Orožen. Andrej Orožen was the CEO of the company for the last 23 years, from the beginning, and last year he decided to start enjoying the life, and he retired. Together, we had a vision, we had a dream. I think we never imagined that something like this would happen. But we took our opportunities, and now, today, we are here.
We can live in a world 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. There's a house we can build, every room inside is filled with the things from far away. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say we've lost our minds. I don't care if they call us crazy. Run away to the world that we design. Every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
Andrej, please come up for a moment. And don't make me cry, otherwise you will have to do the rest of the presentation. Andrej, thank you very much for the last 25 years. I think we really have lots of fun together, but we also worked hard. So I think it's right that you will enjoy the life and make your childhood dreams come true. And for that, we have prepared a special gift. Maybe in the young years, I believe that's the car you always wanted, maybe not today. Now that you have enough time, it steers a little bit to the right, so you will have enough work to fix it.
The lecture from today is be careful what you will wish, because it could came true. I always said I would like to have a car again that I could fix it myself. So there is no much electronic in this car. Yeah, what I should say, yeah, 25 years. I will not spend a lot of words on that. The picture says more than was maybe even polite. But for sure, I would like to thank, in first place, I would like to mention again Franz Degen and Herbert Werning. We started together the story which we are really, all of us, we are so proud about it. It was not easy. If that would be easy, then it would be hundreds companies like Dewesoft just in Slovenia. Thanks, Jure, to you. Thank you to my family, which stays with me, and nevertheless, they suffer a lot of that. Thank you for my personal friends, that they are still my friends, because I didn't have much time to be with them. And of course, I will be the rest of my life really proud that I could say that I have friends in Trbovlje, friends in Dewesoft, and friends all over the world. So thank you. It was my honor that I could work with all of you in all the countries all over the world. So thank you very much for the beautiful 25 years, the team in Slovenia, the guys we started together, and all of you. I could just repeat it now this 10 times. So. Each line.
Yes. Okay. Now I hope I can continue. Actually, this is a good introduction also to tell a little bit about the ownership of Dewesoft. So at the beginning, like we mentioned, we were 4 founders of Dewesoft: Franz, Herbert, Andrej, and me. And I'm really happy, and I think also the power of Dewesoft comes from this, because we always had a chance to learn from the experience. We always could talk to each other. We didn't always agree, but the result was really absolutely fantastic. Franz and Degen, they sold the shares in 2012. And then after that, with Andrej, we invited co-workers, employees, into the ownership of Dewesoft. And then when Andrej retired, the ownership structure of Dewesoft is like this. So already 20% of Dewesoft is owned by the co-workers. But then it made me wonder, what is my exit? What is the future of Dewesoft? So I did the calculation, Dewesoft. And then if I sold my shares to the co-workers, it would take like 165 years to accomplish that. If I sell the shares back to Dewesoft, then this would cripple the company. And then we had an option, like standard ones, IPO, maybe to find a financial partner, maybe to sell my shares to the highest bidder, but nothing of that is really in Dewesoft style. We needed something different. And actually Herbert, a really wise man, said, Jure, you know what would be for Dewesoft? In Germany and in northern countries, there are really lots of companies which are organized as Stiftung, so foundations. And then I really started to look at those companies. I don't know, big companies like Maersk, Zeiss, they are organized like that, but the one which stood out is really Bosch. Bosch was created in 1886, so already a while ago, and then Robert Bosch changed the company in 1940 to this organization. The Bosch family holds 8% of the shares, 92% is held by Stiftung, the foundation, and the nice thing about that is that it doesn't have any owner. It just has a clear vision, a clear social responsibility, and that makes the company inheritedly stable. So from 1940 up to today, the Bosch company and also other companies which are organized like that really grew nicely. And then we made the Dewesoft 100-year plans. I sit together with my kids, and then we started the Knez Holding and Foundation. So the ownership structure is like this. I passed on my shares to this holding foundation structure, and we made a really clear organization, clear rules. We split the ownership management and the operational management. And one of the rules is equal opportunity. So if you saw that girl from that picture before, remember her? Well, this is Nina. She grew up a little bit. And she is now a part of our kitchen team, making sweets for the whole company. Also, Nina. Also, Luca has grown up. He is born in 2000, so he is exactly the same age as Dewesoft, and he is now a part of the marketing team, and he actually helped to make this nice presentation together with his boss, Mitja. Luca is probably somewhere around taking photos. But you know, the important thing is they needed to go through the job interviews, and they fit in the structure where they really can do their best. So I told to Mitja and Dejan, their bosses, fire them the minute it doesn't work. So they really are treated equal. This is one part. The second is the professional operation management. So the person or the persons who are most capable to drive the company forward, to be a team lead, to be a manager, will take this position. And this is where the Tilen Sotler is the new CEO of Dewesoft. So Tilen joined the company already in 2003. The Sox would say he's a mathematician. And he started as a programmer. He then took the role of the concept designer. He then became a team lead. He became a CEO. And after the finishing of the MBA, he took the job of the CEO in the summer of 2022. And you know, when Andrej was with the company, he did most of the talking. And now Andrej is retired, I do most of the talking, and Tilen has to do most of the hard work. So we are really happy that Tilen is with us. And this structure, I believe, should allow us that Dewesoft will really have a long, long future. Dewesoft really belongs to us, in our hearts. And the ownership structure ensures that it is stable also in the way that if somebody leaves the company, he or she needs to sell back the shares to the company. In the company papers, it is written that most of the profit is reinvested in the new technologies, in new products, in infrastructure. We are fully self-financed. Throughout the whole history, we didn't ever have any debt. We will always stay user-focused. Once you buy a Dewesoft instrument, you own it for life. There is no maintenance fees, there is no upgrade fees, even when the new software versions come out with additional functionalities. We have a 7-year warranty, and for the users, this is really nice. But from the business perspective, maybe you would ask, what is the future of this company? But Dewesoft is really growing nicely. And at this moment, I would really like to thank you, all the users, for trust in us. And as a milestone, in the last year, we crossed a €100 million turnover mark. But then we started to ask ourselves, because here in this region, the region was still suffering a lot. And Dewesoft was seen like a company who was dropped from somewhere from space in Trbovlje working for NASA. And then we asked ourselves, what is the best to give back to our society, to our environment, which have raised us and gives us this opportunity. And there we created our business incubator, which will be presented by Petra Škarja, the brain behind Katapult.
Thank you, Jure, and hello to everyone. So what is Katapult? We say it's a perfect environment for acrobats. Now, who are acrobats? For us, acrobats are the ones that are a bit different, unusual. They're always trying new things. They're always innovating. They're pushing boundaries. We would say they're also geniuses. They're visionaries. And to be honest, they're often misunderstood. And we want to say we do understand them and we want to help them. Because at the end, those are the ones that are innovators who are changing the world for the better. And we call them the acrobats. That's why we say it's a city of acrobats. To start with this journey, we always say we need to start with kids. We want to inspire kids to get in love in technology and entrepreneurship, of course. And then, when they grow up, some of them say, you know what, I want to do my own product. I want to do my own company. And we say, of course, welcome to the city of acrobats. We'll help you. How can we help them? First, we'll give you space to be, co-working or other facilities. And then we have shared services. Whatever you need, you can take it. For example, administration, legal stuff, accounting, packaging, logistics, you name it. Then you have test labs to test your products. You have production facilities, CNC, pick and place, laser cutting, plastic, welding, you name it. Take it, whatever you need. We also have educational program named Mosaic of Entrepreneurship and mentors to help you all the way to make it easier. And of course, every place needs a place for gathering, for social networking. We also have those places. And can you imagine all acrobats coming together from different fields, different knowledge, different contexts, coming together, sharing ideas and knowledge? It's where magic happens. Of course, you can see beer helps as well. But all of this could be done because of the Dewesoft. This place isn't unique just in Slovenia, but also in broader Europe. And it's because Dewesoft support us and help us. To say it differently, all of this could be done because we use Dewesoft facilities, Dewesoft knowledge and contacts from all over the world. And that is just totally priceless. Every year, there are more and more startups doing great products here, doing successful companies. Actually, Jure, it could be even more, but we don't have enough space for a few years now. And this is our city of acrobats.
And when I was looking at these graphics, which was created for the front page of the Katapult website, I said, you know, we really need this. We need to build the real city. And
I told him, no, Jure, you don't understand. It's just a picture to easily represent what Katapult is all about, what we can offer.
No, it's not true. You said that Katapult for years doesn't have enough space, and Dewesoft is always here on the limit. And then, by the great vision of our people from the municipality, we actually, even in our close valley, have the space to build something new. And I was so enthusiastic. I started to draw. I draw this picture and this one.
And to be honest, we said, okay, it's nice, it's okay, but could it be, Jure, a little bit different, more modern, innovative, let's say acrobatic?
If you would be really honest, you would say, like you said, the first time it looks like a prison.
True.
But luckily, we have architects in our valley. Christian, who really knows the soul of the Acrobat, and he drew this vision.
You see, that one has a potential. It's like acrobatic airplane, 2 wings of the acrobatic airplane, and in the middle, in the heart, there's Dewesoft.
And during the last year, the idea evolved, and we created this, the real city of Acrobats. It's a place where we could make really professional shared services, where many Katapult companies, the startups could find its place, and of course, Dewesoft would have more space to grow. The city of Acrobats will be 60,000 square meter open space to innovate.
It's like Disneyland for engineers. Or it's like a paradise for the innovators who wants to change the world for the better. So everyone, welcome to the city of Acrobats.
Thank you, Petra. But you know, you might think, oh my God, what will they do? Instead of investing money into the new, exciting black and orange instruments, they will build these 4 walls. But we'll build it in Dewesoft style. It has a modular design, so we will build it section by section as much as we will need it until the whole city will be built. But actually, you're right. These are just 4 walls. It needs to be filled with content. And we are always amazed by the young minds, by the young people who are doing things differently. And we were also amazed by Etto Finn. Etto did a lot of videos on measurement technology, published that on social networks, and we are very happy that Etto is today with us. Etto, hello. One question. How come that you got so much interested in measurement technology?
Well, it's from a long time that I have had some interest in STEM technologies, and so I found that measuring how things work is very interesting.
Great. Is there any part of the technology which is really the most interesting for you?
Well, from quite a long time I've had an interest in rocketry and aerospace, and quite recently I've developed a new interest for power electronics.
And then you made a bunch of videos. Is there any test which is really close to your heart? Which one would you say that it was really the most fun?
Well, I've had a video where I made the testing of an induction motor, and I found that very interesting as I could measure lots of different things.
Etto, I have another question. Do you know about our new product, OBSIDIAN?
Yes, it's your new embedded data acquisition real-time system.
And today we have news. We actually have prepared a very special demo of OBSIDIAN. We put a bunch of motors together, connected directly to the OBSIDIAN, and then put a sock over it.
Hello.
Hello, Etto.
OBSIDIAN?
Yes, I use my digital output to drive the motors, so I am finally alive.
That is great. What can you do?
I can measure everything. I am really, really good at it. You can connect the computer or mobile phone to me and look at the data, but I can also store the data by myself.
How do you control your eyes?
I have in me also the real-time loop which can be used for alarms and controlling motors.
So you can measure and control at the same time?
Yes, but I am still very clumsy. To be able to control my body, I need to learn a lot.
Don't worry, Obsidian, I also have to learn a lot. We will learn together.
Yeah, so this week we are releasing 2 new products. One product, which is made by our great Obsidian team, is the Obsidian R12. It is actually, if you take your ILI chassis, you pull out the gate, you put in the Obsidian R12, it gets a whole new life and a whole new functionality. And the second device is the R8 watertight. It has a very high shock and vibration rating, but to tell you that it's not just a prototype, I would like to invite Mike Davis, the regional manager of Dewesoft USA, to tell the story about our dear customer, John Deere.
Thank you, Jure. Hello, everybody. So I'm here to talk a little bit about our partnership with John Deere and the innovation that works with us in Dewesoft. So we partnered with John Deere a little over 12 years ago. Oh, that's the wrong button. That's the right one. Like I said, we partnered with John Deere a little over 12 years ago. First started with Andrew Nowicki and Tony Marquette selling them some instruments a while ago. But John Deere started in the 1800s. And then in the 1800s, 90% of the world's population were farmers. Today, it's less than 3%. So how does that happen? Innovation. John Deere's an innovator too, and a key driver for us. So the cooperation started, like I said, in 2012, but as of today, John Deere has over $5 million worth of Dewesoft equipment. This is part of the Obsidian project, and that takes a partnership. The partnership includes our global team. Our global team was able to come over to US, and you see them sitting in the harvester there helping out John Deere. Lots of channels to replace, so we got some work to do. And the partnership continues, like Jure said, with Obsidian. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. But there was one thing which was always missing in our world. As you all know, we started with the Dewesoft X software. Then we introduced a bunch of measurement instruments, but they were really closely connected with Dewesoft X. Without an API, without the SDK, in that manner, if you want to automate your tests, if you want to retrieve the data in the third-party applications, you always had to go through Dewesoft, which means that you needed big software and you were limited to Windows operating systems. The solution was clear. We needed to build something in between. We needed to build a software development kit which allows that the third-party application would be connected with Dewesoft. And then we created the joint venture together with a big company in our area, with the HBK.
Hey, Jure, isn't this guy from the HBK?
Yes.
Isn't HBK our competitor?
Yes.
And what are we doing together?
We are creating the history. No worries, man. Everything is going to be all right. So, let me present Nils Röttger, the CTO of openDAQ.
Hello, yes, so I will now explain shortly what openDAQ is. When we listen to the end users, openDAQ should solve, that it's easy integration possible in the end. Because they are already looking for different standards, and they're saying that it should be really easy to integrate different devices from different vendors. So even if now Dewesoft has an API, and also HBK has already well-addressed APIs set in the market, with openDAQ we will have one solution which makes it really easy to integrate different software and different hardware, also from other compliant devices on hardware side and software side, to making integration as easy as possible. In addition, we said, okay, this should be really an open community, invited for everyone. And this is why we made openDAQ as open source, and this was released already last year in October. And it has very important key elements. Besides the device discovery to find it easily in a network, you can also configure the device, and for sure the most important thing, to get the streaming data out of it to measure what you would like to measure. And it's really versatile. You can measure any input with any signal type, and also you can use it on every platform, any operating system, and it has also lots of different language bindings to use your favorite programming language like Python or C#. It also embraces standards because, as I said, we would like to make it easy as possible, and a lot of end customers are already requesting standards, like on the Ethernet interface, or also then protocols on it, as OPC-UA, MQTT, or IDDS. We are embracing these standards to make it as easy as possible with one application programming interface. It is also highly expandable because openDAQ can run on every layer from hardware to software. And this is possible because openDAQ can contribute, can be published on every layer, process distribution, has highest data rates, and this is all possible because of a multi-threaded design. Free to use as open source, but it's also strongly founded. It has a strong founding of 6 million, ensuring the quality of this SDK to make reliable measurements. And this is also ensured by the compliance lab. So welcome to the growing community.
Thank you very much, Nils.
Do you now understand what is openDAQ?
Nah, I still don't get it. As far as I know, it's some sort of a duck.
By the way, do ducks fly?
Hey, Jure, Nils, do they fly?
They sure fly.
Woohoo!
So yeah, the openDAQ as an open source is really something which we, as the creators, would really like to invite you, either as an end customer, or the system integrator, or the sensor provider, or the software provider, or the hardware provider, to join the community. You are welcome to use it free of charge. You are also welcome to contribute. When you look at some artist, when, for example, drawing a picture, at the beginning, these are just maybe a bunch of lines which you can't understand. But in the artist's mind, he has a clear picture what should come out of it. And only when it's finished, you get it. And something beautiful happens. And we had the same feeling when we were creating the new X line of instruments. So I would like to ask Tomaž, the head of development, to join me on the stage.
Jure, thank you for the introduction and the a beautiful story about the beautiful lady. You know, we started with our embedded development 7 years ago. Those days we defined what kind of puzzles we need to do to get the whole picture.
At the beginning, we took the ARM CPU with the modern interfaces, modern architecture, where we can run also the Linux operation system. And at the same time, also our software engineers extracting our source code from the Delphi programming language, from the Dewesoft text to the embedded world, to the OBSIDIAN. And then on the hardware side,
we built a bunch of generic amplifiers which fit at the beginning to the highlight line, but if you look inside, it kind of didn't fit. It had too high sample rates, the ADCs, it has too high bandwidth. But we are now ready for the next step.
Yeah, that is true. And then the next thing in our picture is the openDAQ. You know, openDAQ is an open source standard which can be integrated in the third-party software to use our devices without Dewesoft X. It allows also the multi-client access. That means the multiple clients can be connected to the devices. And it also allows some different standard protocols. Basically, it speaks multiple languages like OPC-UA, MQTT, CANFD, XCP, and many, many more also in the future. Because openDAQ speaks many languages, it is possible also to transfer the data to the cloud services and at the same time also to observe some data on the mobile phones on our Dewesoft M application. Then the next thing in our picture is the RT plugins. You know, 20 years ago, maybe more than 20 years ago, we had an option, or we still have the option, that in the Dewesoft X we can write some kind of plugins which extend our functionality inside the Dewesoft. The same philosophy we did for the, on the RT side. So also on our device we can put some plugins to extend our functionalities with new functions, of course. And then, you know, when we started with OBSIDIAN, we also wrote two plugins, RT plugins. The first one is the storing plugin, and the second one is triggering plugin. And then all our platforms, iLiteX, SiriusX, XIJS, and also OBSIDIAN, it have multiple cores. That means that also in the future, it will be possible to split the non-real-time and real-time operations, that it will be possible to perform also some real-time operations. And from that development, we got the iLiteX. iLiteX has the Sigma Delta ADC, 24 bits, sampling rate up to 200 kilosamples per second. It has dual gigabit Ethernet interface. And right now we have 3 different amplifiers, ACC, STG, and low voltage. SiriusX is the next in our line. It has also the 200 kilosamples per second. Basically, it has also the double channels compared to the iLiteX. It has also the dual gigabit LAN with parallel interfaces. In the future, it will have also the EtherCAT, CANFD, and also the USB. And if we connect together the iLiteX and SiriusX, we can connect both units in the star topology or just daisy chaining between the units. What is very important and what is unique, that you can use just one single cable for everything. For what? For the configuration of the amplifiers, for the data streaming, for the synchronization, and of course also for the power supply.
Thank you, Tomaž. So to make a short summary, all the products we introduced today, all the products we introduced in the last few years, they have the multi-core ARM CPU running Linux. And we have, by now quite strong, Dewesoft RT, which will expand also in the future. With the help of openDAQ, all these devices can be discovered, they can be configured, and you can get the data over a standard interface. And the same SDK can be used on the client side, on the other side, to retrieve this information, to retrieve the data, either in Dewesoft X or even in parallel to any other user application. But this is not it. openDAQ allows the device, or enables the device, to be truly multilingual. So the device can speak many languages. In parallel, the device can send the data over OPC UA, very soon MQTT, IDDS, to any SCADA, cloud, user application, and at the same time, it can send the data through the real-time interface like EtherCAT in the real-time control system. Ladies and gentlemen, the X-Line. So basically, we have almost came to the end. I hope that you enjoyed. And the last word for Dewesoft socks.
Whoa, that was amazing.
Yeah, really amazing. Crowd, how do you like it so far? Can we hear some noise? Yeah! But I'm still missing something.
You're never happy. What is it now?
A grande finale. We need a grande finale. I'm ready to blow up something.
You're right. Do you have any idea?
Bang! We need a bang!